how's it going? I'm Kelsey, I'm a nutritional therapist. I'm a paleo chef and baker, and you are here with me today live in my kitchen in Santa Monica. And I'm really excited because I am going to be sharing with you an amazing recipe that I love from my cookbook, Paleo Sweets. And this recipe is really simple to throw together. It's a super healthy alternative to what you might be used to finding in the store, or even some of like the healthier versions you can find at health food stores. And that is a paleo coconut milk whipped cream. So I use this recipe that we're making today in a couple of different recipes. It's great to accentuate anything. I mean, again, it's so versatile. You can check out this banoffee pie recipe. So that's the one we're going to be looking at today to copy the whipped cream recipe. If you're familiar with banoffee pie, maybe you're in Australia, New Zealand, England area, banoffee pie is amazing. It's like a toffee pie filled with bananas, topped with whipped cream and more bananas, and shaved dark chocolate. So I'm excited to show you guys how to make the whipped cream portion of that. And before I get too far into it, I just want to make sure you can hear me. So if you could just give me some love, if you can hear me, throw up some thumbs up. I'm really happy to see everyone joining. So just let me know you can hear me, and then I will go ahead and dive right into the recipe. All right. Is it working? Can you hear me? Heart if you can hear me. All right, cool. So I'm going to go ahead and dive right in. It seems like everything's working. And of course, as the name implies, the main ingredient in this whipped cream recipe is going to be coconut milk. So I want to talk to you for a second about coconut milk and what coconut cream is. I get emails sometimes with people asking me, like, what is coconut cream and where can I find it? And I'm going to show you guys a really great trick, not only where you can find it, but a great trick for getting it out of the can. So first things first, the first step in putting this all together that we have to have prepped ahead of time before we even get to talk about coconut milk is going to be the secret ingredient. And this is the ingredient that keeps the whipped cream really nice and fluffy, gives it a springy texture, and it helps it hold together a little bit better than just plain coconut cream. There are some paleo recipes out there that are just plain coconut cream, and they tend to melt, and they're either too hard in the fridge or too soft when they're out. And I find that using gelatin helps to kind of set the whipped cream so it stays springy and light, and it's not too dense, and it holds together a little bit better. So I'm going to go ahead, and I have, the recipe calls for a ½ cup of water total divided. So that means we're going to be total using ½ cup of water, but we're going to take a ¼ cup to start, and I'm pouring it into a separate bowl. And so the very first step, like step 0, before we even dive into any of the fun stuff, is going to be to hydrate the gelatin. Now this is a really important step because what we want to do is we want to make sure that the gelatin absorbs liquid so it spreads more evenly throughout the rest of the recipe when we add it into the coconut milk, and that makes sure the consistency of the whipped cream is a little bit more uniform. It's going to be smooth all the way through, and you won't get those weird chunks of gelatin that you might notice sometimes if you just add the gelatin to the recipe. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to double check my recipe because I like to do that. I love having a copy of this book on hand, to be honest, because I use these recipes so much. I love being able to share them with you, and I love that it's a physical book, and you can get yours free. I'm actually going to pin the link in the comments as soon as I jump off the video. All you have to do is pay shipping, and it'll show up to your door, and you can have my recipes too. So we're going to start with 2 teaspoons of gelatin. And what we want to do is we want to sprinkle it really nice and evenly over the water. We want to try to avoid any clumping and any like piles of gelatin, because that just takes a lot longer to hydrate and absorb the water. And remember, we want to avoid getting any weird chunks of gelatin in the final recipe. We want to be able to trick our friends and our families and loved ones into believing that this is junk food when it's really healthy for them. So there's steps like this that we can take to make sure that we do our best to trick them into being healthy. All right, so you see I'm sprinkling it really gently and evenly, and you kind of take your time, and it's interesting. Everyone knows what water looks like, so as soon as I get done sprinkling this, I'm going to bring this over to you guys, because you'll see as the gelatin starts to absorb the water, it turns into kind of an applesauce consistency. So, burp, 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 just like that. And almost there. Just gotta be patient. All right, I'm gonna come around and show you guys what this looks like. So you can see it's already getting like a little bit gunky and chunky, but this is exactly what we want. So we can see that like it's not, you see like a little bit of the powder left on the top, but it's really hydrating, it's really absorbing the water, and again, that's gonna lead to a really smooth, creamy whipped cream in the end, which is what we want, because that is the most delicious. So we're gonna give this a few more seconds to finish absorbing the water. And in the meantime, I get to show you guys this really cool, nerdy trick about coconut milk. So coconut cream is, we're gonna need 1.5 cups, and for me this takes about 2 cans. I like to recommend that you choose a brand of coconut milk. I use Natural Value. I buy this, you can get it either online, I get it at my local health food store, and there are a couple of different kinds that you can find out there. You just want to make sure you read the label because we don't want any guar gum or stabilizers or polysorbate, anything like that. We just want coconut and water. And what I've done is I've taken these 2 cans of full fat coconut milk and I left them in the fridge overnight. And what happens is the fat or the coconut cream solidifies at the top and the liquid separates to the bottom. So when we open the can in a very special way, I will show you how in a second, and the coconut cream is solidified and it's super easy just to scoop it out, measure it, and add it to the recipe. So are you guys ready for the trick that I'm going to show you for opening this? We still need a can opener, so I have one of those. That's not gone off the list yet. What we're going to do is we're going to, ta-da, flip the can upside down. Now it seems really simple, but it makes a huge difference. Again, when the coconut milk is solidifying and the cream is coming to the top, the liquid sinks to the bottom. And what can happen is while you're trying to scoop the coconut cream off of the top, you can shove it down, splash yourself with coconut water, and it gets everywhere, and it can be kind of messy and a little bit frustrating. So what we're going to do is we're going to open the can from the bottom, and I like to go around a couple of times just to make sure it's actually really open. It's no fun trying to wrestle the lid off a can, you know? I'm going to carefully find a spot. Right there. This is what happens when we use safety can openers. I'm going to try it a little bit more. Didn't quite come off that time. 4th time's a charm, I think. If I can get it back on there. Ah! There we go. Just go back and forth. Alright, I think that'll be good enough for our purposes. So you'll see, there we go. We have all of that liquid on the top. Oops, it's dripping, and I'm not going to pour it off, but I am going to start to just pour it into the glass. There's a good bit of liquid left, but look, all of that white stuff left at the bottom, that is solid coconut cream. And you can save this liquid and use it in your smoothies or in your soups or in your curries. Sometimes I like to freeze it in ice cube form just so it doesn't go bad if I don't know how I'm going to use it at the time. But you don't have to waste this. You can definitely conserve it. I don't think it tastes very good to drink on its own, but up to you, you know? To each their own. So I'm going to take this measuring cup and we're going to measure about 2 cups of coconut cream. And because this is a little bit more solid, again, there are no gums, there are no stabilizers, so you'll see it comes out, it's a little bit chunky. I'm going to go ahead and over measure a little bit. When I made the first batch this morning, there were just a lot of cracks and crevices that were left in the measuring cup, and we need those to be filled in with coconut cream so that we have the exact amount. So if it's chunky, if yours comes out a little bit chunky, you'll want to measure 2 loose cups of coconut cream. And be careful when you're loosening this from the can, just like so. And I didn't have to use 2 full cans, used about 1.5. So we'll see, there's 1, and same thing, second can, I'm just going to flip it right over. I'm going to do a better job of opening it this time, so hopefully I don't have to wrestle the lid off. I have one of those safety can openers that kind of leaves the dulled edge and cuts underneath the lip of the top of the can, which I love because, you know, it doesn't make any sharp edges, but it can be child-proof and adult-proof, if you know what I mean. All right, so we're just going to open. Go around a few good times for good measure. So one thing I love about this recipe, and again, I use it a few times throughout Paleo Sweets, even the book, the cake on the cover of the book, the Sexy Black Forest cake uses a variation of this whipped cream recipe. We just make a little bit more of it so it can go in between all 4 layers of the cake. But I love this because it's so versatile. You can just eat it with a spoon if you want. I definitely do that sometimes. I'll show you my favorite way to enjoy it these days as soon as we get done whipping it up. All right, I think I've gone around about 5 times. That should be good. Should being the key word there. So we're gonna go ahead and, yes, it worked. So we popped off the lid. I'm gonna stick it in the other can. And again, I'm just gonna go ahead and pour off the liquid. And look at that. Again, bingo, that's exactly what we want. It's the fat from the coconut solidified at the top of the can after I left it in the fridge overnight. I'm not sure exactly how long it takes for it to solidify. You'll notice sometimes when you buy coconut milk from the store, it comes out a little chunky, and that's all it is. It's the coconut cream is starting to set a little bit. That's what those chunks are. So I'm going to scoop this out. And I'll show you what this looks like up close. So again, the recipe calls for 1.5 cups of coconut cream. And you can see I have all of these kind of gaps along down there. And so I added a little bit extra. I filled it up to about 2 cups because I know it'll even out in the end. It'll give us exactly the amount that we want. All right, so I'm going to set this extra aside, and I love having open cans of coconut milk and coconut cream around because they're so yummy. I like to blend them in with my tea sometimes to make like a latte type feel, but they're great to use in a variety of different dishes, which we can talk about another day. So I'm going to go ahead and pour in the coconut cream to the bowl. And next we are going to add 2 more key ingredients. Again, this is a really simple recipe. It's just the coconut cream, the gelatin with the water. Next we're going to add 1/4 cup of maple syrup or honey. Take your pick. I like maple syrup. It gives a little bit of a more mild, neutral flavor. And if you want to use honey, honey is great too. You can use raw honey and then get all of the great enzymes in there. But I'm going to choose maple syrup today. And then we're going to add a tablespoon, I'll double check that. I love my vanilla, but I always want to make sure we're adding the right amount. Let's see. All right, I think that, yeah, 1 teaspoon. Okay, glad I didn't go overboard. This would have been super duper. You know, the recipe calls for 1 teaspoon. I'm going to go ahead and add 2 teaspoons. And you know, this is actually a great, another secret ingredient you can use if you're not super into coconut flavor. The vanilla kind of neutralizes the coconut taste that's left from the coconut cream. So again, if you have family members, loved ones, or if you personally don't love the flavor of coconut, you can still use this recipe and taste all of its amazing deliciousness and get the benefits, the health benefits of the coconut, the healthy fats, and you don't have to worry about the flavor. So I urge you to try it either way. Now we're pretty much set for this stage in the recipe. There's one thing left to do, and that will be to add the gelatin. But as you can see, I'll show you guys here, it's all solid now. Look at that. I don't think it would dump out, but I'm not going to turn it upside down. So you can see it's nice and thick. The gelatin has absorbed the water. And the next step, remember I told you we're using 1/2 cup of water total, but we're starting out with 1/4 cup. The next step is going to be to measure 1/4 cup of boiling water, pour it into the gelatin, and stir it around a little bit so that it really completely dissolves. And I'll show you again another reason why this is really helpful in just a second. I have some water boiling on the stove over here, and I'm going to take this measuring cup. Doesn't matter that it's dirty, it's all going into the same recipe. And we'll just take the lid off of that. And there we go. And remember, that's hot. Ow. Remember, don't grab hot things in the kitchen. Always use an oven mitt. Do as I say, not as I do. Just going to get down low and pour this into the measuring cup, like so. It's always good to get down low and level with your measuring cups if you can, especially liquid measuring cups like the glass ones with the handle. So you can really make sure you're getting the exact amount that you think you're getting. Liquid makes such a huge difference in a lot of recipes, but particularly in like dessert and baked goods. We want to make sure we're hitting the mark with the right amount. So I'm just going to take the boiling water, remember 1/4 cup, so we have 1/2 cup total, pour it over the gelatin, take my almost clean fork and give it a little stir. And it reliquefies it. So remember, we soaked and hydrated the gelatin so that it spreads more evenly throughout the final recipe. It gives a smoother texture all around. We'll avoid any weird gelatin chunks. And as soon as that is good and dissolved, I'm going to go ahead and pour it over the coconut cream. So I mentioned there's a second reason why it's really nice to have this water hot and boiling, and that is because the coconut cream is really cold and solid, and we need it to be that way so that it separates and we can measure it out. And we also want it to get a little bit softer so we can move on to the next step of the recipe, which is going to be to whip it good, because it's whipped cream, right? Oh my gosh, when I was a kid, I used to love Cool Whip, and it was just so light and fluffy and artificial. It's so funny because remembering it now, I remember that kind of weird flavor that would always coat my tongue afterwards. But I guess I associated that with like delicious whipped cream because I always wanted more. So I'll tell you what, this recipe does not leave any weird coating or flavor on your tongue. All it does is help you make delicious recipes more delicious. It's great to accentuate, really great to throw on top of hot chocolate or pancakes even. I know the PaleoHacks website has a lot of great coconut flour pancake recipes. You could just go coconutty, go coconuts, and have coconut whipped cream on top of your coconut pancakes. I bought a waffle iron a little while ago. I love waffles, so I'm definitely going to be using some of this later on to make some waffles. So I'm stirring it, and it's all starting to melt, and it's getting really liquidy. So I'll kind of try to show you without pouring it out, by giving it a little stir. And I'm going to go ahead and set the fork aside, and you guys need to put on your earmuffs. All right, we're about to blend it, or whip it. All right, 1, 2, 3, go. All right, so one note to everyone out there, I do this and I want to tell you, definitely wear an apron when you're making whipped cream. You can see it kind of splatters a little bit everywhere. It's worth it, I promise. Just a word to the wise. So I would continue to whip this until all of the chunks were gone, and it would be a totally smooth cream. So we'll imagine that I whipped it for a little bit longer. I just don't want to deafen you guys, and I'm really excited to show you the final product. So I'm going to go ahead, we'll pretend like this is totally whipped, and then you pop it in the fridge. I made another batch a couple of hours ago, so it's fully set. I recommend you let it set for 30 minutes to an hour or overnight. Normally, if I'm putting together a recipe like the sexy black forest cake or the banoffee pie, I'll make the whipped cream a day ahead of time just so I know it's ready to go and I can focus on making the main dish the day of. So I'll be right back. I'm going to grab the stuff I made earlier out of the fridge, and I'll get to show you what it's supposed to look like when it's set. All right, so, boop. So this is some that I made earlier today, and I had to scoop it out of the original bowl into the smaller bowl so I could show you guys and use the other bowl to make a new batch. But I just want to show you how it's kind of like springy. You can see it's a little bit springy, and it's set up really well, and this is exactly what we want, but it's not the final stage. So in order to make it just like real whipped cream, we have to whip it one more time. So I'm going to go ahead and spend a few more seconds whipping this, but I promise I will do an entertaining and adorable dance while I do that. All right? Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Silence so much more after you have electrical appliances on. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys. Again, I could whip this, I could continue to whip it a little bit longer. Some coconut creams take a little bit longer to whip up, but there we go. It's like delicious and nice and springy and light. This is a little bit darker in color. I used honey in the first batch, so it's a little bit more of an off-white, but if you use a lighter color honey, like a creamed honey, you would probably want to liquefy it before you added it in, and then it'll give you a little bit of a lighter color. So I promised I would show you guys one of my recent and current favorite ways to enjoy coconut whipped cream, and that is on fresh strawberries. One of my favorites. I just got some organic ones from the farmer's market the other day, so they're nice and fresh and juicy. That's one thing I love about living in California is strawberries are always in season. But you can always use other berries. Raspberries, blueberries are great. Again, put it on your pancakes, eat it on a spoon. I don't know, what are some of your favorite ways to eat whipped cream that you might not have been able to enjoy until now? Can you have it on your Paleo ice cream? How do you like to eat it? I'm just going to show you guys exactly what this looks like. I'm going to try to get a really pretty strawberry dip here. I don't know, how does that work? How do we do this? All right, just like that. Bing! So coconut whipped cream, super easy to whip up. It has gelatin in there. Remember, gelatin's really healthy for your joints. The fats in coconut are really good for fighting inflammation. You have to have fats in your body for the anti-inflammatory process to happen. Also, it's just plain delicious and you can enjoy it in so many different ways. I'm really happy to be able to share this recipe from Paleo Sweets with you. And remember, you can grab, hold on, I gotta free up my hand. You can grab your copy of Paleo Sweets. I'm going to add the link below in the comments as soon as I'm done with the video. The book is free, you just have to pay shipping. And again, I love that it's a physical book. I love, even like, you know, I have all these recipes on my computer, but I always use the book just because it's so much easier to carry it into the kitchen. So I would love it if you're just tuning in. Let us know you're here. Say hi. Let me know where you're from. I want to know your favorite way to use whipped cream in your life, and I will definitely be telling you guys how to grab your copy. Click the link below. Free, just pay shipping. I want to share all of my yummy dessert recipes with you. But get cracking on this one. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you guys next time. All right, take care. Bye.